Well, I feel honored and happy for an unsolicited award that is on merit. I think you guys did your background checks of your nominees through what their pedigree has been, what their contributions to development has been in their own spaces, either in general or in specifics. And of course, you stumbled upon my name or my humble self. And I'm sure you have a checklist that you went through for me to qualify. So I really want to thank you for that, for that recognition. Because other associations, NGOs, sometimes, people accuse them of some not too palatable dealings in giving out awards. Yours, I can say, from your leadership and your contacts and how you have been able to reach to me is totally different. It's purely on merit. It's purely on set goals or set key ticks or indicators that you use to identify Nigerians who you feel you can work with. So it's a very important advocacy strategy, and it shows you guys are doing your homework and really finding out Nigerians who are dedicated and passionate and selfless in contributing to the development of youth, communities, and the nation at large. And I'm happy to really be part of this family and trying to collaborate and do whatever I can in my capacity to bring out the much needed development and reforms in the Nigerian polity. Yes, it's extremely important to focus on all children, male or female. And of course, there has been this focus on the girl child, but there has also been focuses on the boy child also. And with your new approach and initiative, I believe you really want to look at it in an angle that is different from the way maybe it's been looked before, particularly for those children who are underserved, for just those children who are excluded, and those children who are vulnerable. Because the whole talk about boychild in most part of the world and in a lot of NGOs is just plain and conventional talk that they should get to school, they should be taken care of like for the general needs, of a growing child, the formative years, without looking at specifics or peculiarities of those children in their communities, in their geographies, or even their demographies. So focusing on the boy child, I'm sure you want to look out of the box, if I might want to use that word, and look for those areas that have been excluded, that have been marginalized, or that have been underserved for that particular boy child. Let me give you an example. For most of our education policy in Nigeria, it has only focused on just delivering education, without that peculiarity of gender-based, or what we call gender-based or age-based nuances of what the needs of those children are. And I'm sure by what the Great Achievers Youth and Community Empowerment Initiative is doing is to really factor in those peculiarities of those children. Because you find children now, of course, some of them going to school, finishing school, but still after school, they go into social or mental crisis or midlife crisis, because that focus on what to do after school or after graduation is not there. That's even the same problem with the girl child education. There has been this hype about girl child education, but do you really look deeper into the difference in peculiarity, needs, backgrounds of all those children? So as we have always argued, when I was in the National Assembly and even before that, there's a particular case of boy child education, for example, in the Southeast or in the North. Not in the Southeast, where if you go to Anambra, that is Onitsha, or you go to Abia, Ariaria Market, and the Aba Market, a lot of children, boys there, go to apprenticeship. And they also go to schools where they learn trade and where they for example, manufacture fabrics or fashion. They're into fashion and things like that. And that is a school for them. And millions of them contributing to Nigeria's GDP and even producing, fashion brands that are for export. If you go to Onitsha Market, you find young boys who are apprentices or who are working in shops, as dealing with business transactions running into hundreds of millions across the globe, balancing their books, but they don't go to the conventional school. And now they are all called illiterates. They are out of school. They are not out of school. They are in a skill-based, trade-based, or business-based school. And they even employ those who have PhDs. So the peculiarity of education in those spaces should be recognized. Scale up those skill sets, add numeracy and literacy, and give them their certificates. It will boost their self-esteem. It will also boost their confidence in doing their international businesses. Not that they must go to a four corners of a classroom with the teacher in front of a board. So boychild, by what your NGO is doing, focusing on those neglected areas of boychild education, rather than the usual conventional four-wall classroom going for 6 years, then going to college for those who can go to college. What about those other peculiarities that we have across all the demographies of those children? Up north, the nomadic child, or in the creeks, the nomadic child still that is going to go through the creeks for fishing, or fishing communities of the Delta region. They have their peculiarities of not being in conventional schools, but they are in a school, because the definition of a school is wherever. It's very broad. It's not narrow that you have to be, the school is a structured government or private owned building with teachers and instruction materials and a blackboard. No, school is beyond that now. And even before that, for century, school is anywhere where you have training and then imparting knowledge on students. Where you do apprentice is also a school. So I'm sure your organization is looking at that component of liberalizing education, or that component of bringing in rebranding of education to make it inclusive and truly universal for all kids, boys and girls in Nigeria. Well, for all boys in Nigeria and beyond, let them know there are young people, there are people in position of leadership, there are also stakeholders who really are working hard to rethink and to rebrand the way we educate our children and the way we look at skills, the way we look at entrepreneurship and vocational training. That every child has a potential, and that potential should be identified and then developed, and the child should be supported to achieve those full potentials through their own life. We are not going to continue with the current policy or system of education that teaches this, maxim of pass it and forget it, fake it or forge it. Because honestly, that is the painful truth that our certificate-based education has brought us to. Whatever you can do, even if the sky is going to fall, get a certificate and look for a government job. A creativity, is not valued. Innovation is not valued. Problem solving is not valued. So in whatever space the Nigerian child is, whether it's an entrepreneurial space, trading space, micro and small businesses, construction, art, creativity, once you are a problem solver, know that this organization and all of those who are rebranding education in Nigeria, identify with you and really want to bring in that component as a key recognized aspect of education, and which will be supported for greater Nigeria.
The Great Achievers Summit and Award of Excellence 2024, proudly presented by the Great Achievers Initiative for Youth and Community Development, Gaiyd. This year's theme, Shaping the Future Leadership of Our Society, unites visionaries and trailblazers committed to forging a lasting legacy of impact. Be part of this moment where greatness is honored.